Good day, everyone, and welcome to Home at the Hollow. First, I want to thank you so much for joining me. And of course, I hope that you had the most wonderful Christmas absolutely ever. Today, I'm preparing something with all of you guys in mind. I'm always hoping to inspire you. And I want to inspire you into the new year. I want you to try something new, try something different, and make this new year different. Today's menu, because it's a combination of, several different videos. One, I'm going to be preparing a pulled pork Boston butt roast that is in my cookbook. It is fabulous. If you are celebrating with family or friends, or if you're just hanging out at home, pulling your team through the game, then this is one that you can absolutely set and let it cook. And I'll just show you just how easy it is. I'm going to be making a Cowboy Caviar. I put a little different ingredients in it that, you may be not used to in a Cowboy Caviar, but it's one of those things, if you have it, then go ahead and use it. And as long as it's good, and I can tell you, this came out exceptional. Exceptional. I'm also going to be sharing a little bit of an idea for an appetizer. If you happen to have any of this pulled pork left over, you can incorporate with appetizers. Again, if you're having a big party, football party, what have you, this is an incredible way not only to get your black-eyed peas in for the new year, but to enjoy yourself and have a wonderful, start your new year off by having a wonderful time. And without further ado, let's get started. And we are getting started with our pork roast. I have added a 1/4 cup of dark brown sugar. If you have light brown sugar, whichever one is simply fine. A tablespoon of chili powder. And certainly if you need to, adjust this according to your taste, then that's totally okay too. And 1½ tablespoon of paprika. And again, I'm going to just kind of, there, that looks like 1½ tablespoons to me. A teaspoon of cayenne. Now, if you don't like hot or spicy foods, then you may want to cut the cayenne maybe back to 1/2 teaspoon, but I'm going to add a teaspoon, which is what I usually do. A teaspoon of black pepper. And a teaspoon of salt, kosher salt. And 2½ teaspoons of garlic powder. And a wee bit. And then, of course, your pork butt roast. But I'm going to just give this a little bit of a pushing this through. And then, yes, this is in the cookbook. It's on page 67. And, there's different ways, of working with this pork roast. And I'll be happy to share that with you guys once it's finished. But I think certainly if you have a smaller pork roast, you certainly could use all of this. It's not going to hurt it. But what I would suggest is if you're just cooking for 2 or 2 or 3 people, maybe getting a couple of small pork roast and then going through the dry rub process and having one ready to cook and then putting another one with the dry rub on it and putting the other one in the freezer so you will be ready. So here is my pork roast. It is just massive. Ooh. And what we're going to do is just give it a good rub. You can see it's already taking in a lot of the spices. And that's exactly what I want, is a good coating on this. You probably could cook this in the oven. I'm going to cook mine in the slow cooker simply because I have so many days, oh my goodness, where if I'm not outside working, doing something away from the house, then I'm painting or doing something like that, to where I just, honestly, I just don't have time to tend to it. And there you go. And the sugar helps the spices to melt into the meat here. Oh, that's going to be so good, guys. It is going to be so good. I just love, let me wash my hands. I just really enjoy when I have some people here working. I really enjoy being able to feed them and keep them fed, keep them happy, because where we are is quite a good drive to actually go and get something to eat. So I try to be prepared. And get your plastic wrap. Let's see if I can get this going. The reality is I'm going to just simply make a mess. And just get this plastic wrap and get it totally wrapped. And I can tell you there's not any bit of this that's going to be wasted. There's so much you can do with this that is sure to please everybody. And that's about it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure it's totally wrapped, because this brown sugar will, kind of melt. And just, you just want to make sure that this is going to just absolutely soak right into the skin instead of dripping right into your pan. And I have a clean bowl here, and I'm going to just put this back in the fridge. I'm going to allow this is very early in the morning, but I'm going to allow this to set at least overnight. And then tomorrow morning, I will get and slow cook it off, and we will go from there. And I am getting ready to give a beautiful slow roast to this pork butt roast, 6.5 pounds. I have chunked up, and there's no reason to slice or worry about your knife cuts, because this is all gonna cook down into a bed of just, oh, I can hardly wait. Can you tell I like onion? But I've preheated my oven so you can see where you would not want to just, as carefully as I wrap this, yeah. But see if we can get this wrapping off of here. There's no need to add any oils or butters or anything there. There is going to be enough from this pork butt roast. And I can feel a little bit of a bone here, and that's okay. And there you go. We're going to just place this right on here. Give my hands a quick wipe. Oh, goodness. And just give it a good cover. It's going to be raining here in East Tennessee all day long, so I'm going to do an oven slow and low at 325 for 7 hours, at which time I'll bring you guys right back. So we are at the 7-hour mark, and I'm going to see what I can get done with this before I start tearing it apart. When I bought it, I did not know that there was a bone in here, and there it is. It just pops right out. This is going to be so good. And typically at this point, oh my goodness, look at it. It's just absolutely this is going to be so good, guys. This is so good. If I see any kind of, I always, of course, leave my onion in here, but if I see any kind of fat in here, I'm taking this out. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that would maybe disagree with me, but hey, you know, and I'm going to just start tearing this apart. I see there was a whole layer of fat on the bottom of it, and I'm going to just, yeah, ugh. I'm not really, I don't think you guys can see, so you just, you know, please excuse my shaking here, but I wanted you to see how easy this is and it just falls absolutely apart. And of course, I'm going to leave the onions in there. Onions are some of my most favorite things. I love onions. And that looks pretty good. This is, oh my gosh, guys, this is looking really good. It is going to be a marvelous, I don't know, that probably is okay, but I'm going to set it aside because, like I said, I'm kind of picky. I'm kind of a fussy meat eater. I don't know about that either. I'll go through that later. And there you go. It, you know, usually you have to, like, you know, get a couple of forks and kind of break it apart. And this is just going apart all on its own. Wow. This is going to be delicious. It's been 300 degrees for 7 hours. And at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I don't think so. I'm going to add some of my barbecue sauce. I make my own. And if you want that recipe, drop me a comment below. And I've got my barbecue sauce ready. I'll give you guys a little bit of a look. I mean, it's barbecue sauce, right? But oh my goodness, this is really good sauce. And all I'm going to do is, this is about 4 ounces. I don't like a vinegar-based barbecue sauce very much. Let's see if we can, yeah. I don't like a vinegar-based barbecue sauce too much. And there we go. And I'm going to cover it back up. And I'm going to put it back in the oven. I know 7 hours seems like a lot. I'm going to put it back in the oven. Probably not 300, but maybe 275, 250, something like that. Probably for a good another couple of hours. And at which point we will have our Cowboy Caviar, our cornbread, and our pulled pork. So good. I hope you join me. So I'm getting ready, and we're going to go ahead and get started on this. The first thing I want to do for my Cowboy Caviar is to make kind of the dressing or the marinade. It's basically 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of Worcester sauce. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. It's really super simple. really like these shakers. Get rid of that pretty darn quick. And 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. I told you guys I was messy in the kitchen. I'm not kidding. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to that. You know, just a little bit. There's no magic formula there. And I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of some cumin. Half a teaspoon doesn't seem like a lot, but this caviar has a lot going on with it. So we'll just mix this up a little bit, set it aside. Now, if you want, since this is for New Year's for me, I'm using black-eyed peas. If you want to use a combination of black-eyed peas and black beans, whatever it is that you have, there's really no wrong way here. I don't really like black-eyed peas like, well, a lot of people eat them just cooked. It just isn't for me. So I've got whole green pepper chopped here and about 1/4 cup of white onion. If you have red onion, that's okay too. There's no wrong or right here. If you have a red pepper, yellow pepper, it really doesn't make an awful lot of difference. And if you're concerned about the onion being in here, you can, you know, and it being a little bit too sharp, too little harsh to eat, you can try a red onion. But I can tell you, using onion in a salad like this with the marinade that we've got going on here, it will take some of the bite, so to speak, out of the onion. And I'm going to add some corn here. I mean, why not? I don't see why not. It's looking really, really colorful. Very nice. About 1.5 cups of tomatoes. I suggest Roma tomatoes if you have them. They will hold up very well in a salad. If you don't have them, no worries, because, you know, this is going to be so good, it's not going to last long anyway. But I don't have Roma tomatoes. It just happened to be the tomatoes I bought the other day, and that's what I've got. So there you go. And now if you want to add some, a little bit, just a little bit of jalapeno pepper in here, you can. But I'm going to be serving this with my pulled pork that's still cooking. And that is, the pulled pork is spicy, I feel, enough. It's just, you know, my very humble opinion, and I don't need any extra going on in here. And you know what, guys? It is just that simple. You can serve this kind of like as a salad. I'm going to serve it as a vegetable side dish for New Year's Day. You can serve it as a dip if you're having, you know, football parties or things like that. You can serve this as a dip with some tortilla chips. I've got an avocado that before I serve it, I'm going to place over it. And because avocado is really so good for you. And that's it, guys. I'm going to just let it set in the fridge. And the longer it sets, the better it's going to be. You guys are going to love this. And I will be back as shortly as I can for a taste test. So guys, oh my goodness, this pork roast could have not turned out better. I mean, you saw it at 7 hours, and I only added 4 ounces of a barbecue sauce because I wanted the taste and the spices that we added to the pork to come through. So I added, 4 ounces of barbecue sauce. I set it in the oven maybe another hour at 300 and went ahead and pulled it, let it rest, and here you go. Oh my goodness, I just made some little mini corn muffins, and of course my Cowboy Caviar. This is kind of a little bit different than a regular, is there a regular Cowboy Caviar? I don't know, but I added tomatoes to mine. I could have added jalapeno, and in hindsight, I wish that I had, but what I did is once I've served this up, and I'm going to serve myself up, but once I served this up, I went ahead and drained all of the olive oil, which there was not that terrible much, but I drained the olive oil and the red wine vinegar off of it. I basically just spooned everything out, and there was a little bit left because I didn't really want it setting, for terribly too long. A day, excuse me, a day is plenty long for the Cowboy Caviar to sit in the fridge waiting on this delicious, and it just absolutely falls apart. You don't need a knife. And I'm going to give this another try because I've been tasting it kind of all along. You guys, oh my goodness. This absolutely will melt in your mouth. And if you want to add barbecue sauce, on the side, offer your guests something like that, then you're more than welcome to. But with the texture and the seasonings of the pork roast, I'm going to try the caviar. You would think with the red wine vinegar that it would be, a little tart, but it absolutely isn't. It mellows out the onion. If you choose to put onion in there, it mellows and kind of marinades the onion to where it doesn't have such a sharp bite. And even if you're not making a salad like this, if you're just making a salad and you want to put red onion or whatever in it, slice your onion up, chop your onion up, and soak it in a little bit of water, cold water, and drain it off, of course, before you put it in the salad. And that'll take a little bit of the bite out of it. But this is just so, so good. I just can't express to you. I hope that you try it. But if you'll remember, I actually pulled the bone out of it and, kind of picked through things that I thought, oh, that looks like a little bit of fat, because I'm so super picky. But the container, once it cooled, of what I had pulled from it, I had actually pulled out a lot of meat. I pulled that meat, the pork, off of it. I chopped it up very, very fine. I'm not really sure if you can see. Very, very fine. I added a wee bit, just a very wee bit of barbecue sauce to it. And if you were having New Year's Day festivities, a game happening, you're rooting for your favorite team, if you want to make some memorable appetizers, make little mini corn muffins. Now this was just a mix. This is nothing special. This is just one of those little mixes. And if you want to use a knife, I think you guys can see, and just cut through and just make yourself a little hole. You want to just a hole. Place some of your, I probably should have added a little bit more barbecue sauce since it's going into a mini muffin, but you do you. But, and just give it a good stuff with your pulled pork. Oh yes, now. Definitely give it a good stuff. And what I have here is some sweet pickle relish. And just a very slight amount. Very slight. and just top off your little mini cornbread muffin. Like I said, this might be 1 or 2 bites depending on who's eating this, but this is absolutely delicious. Everyone is going to appreciate all of the trouble that you went to, and it's really, you know, in hindsight, it really isn't a lot of trouble, but oh, don't you ever look good, you know, to dazzle them like that. I think so. Or if you have, you know, an apple core, you can just give it a twist and it pops right out. You don't even have to pull it out. It pops right out. It makes a perfect circle. Now with the Cowboy Caviar, if you have some left over, you can serve it with tortilla chips. It's just an excellent, exceptional side dish to the pulled pork. I want to thank you guys again so much for joining me, and start the new year off right. Try something new, try something different, and you might just be surprised. With that, I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you join me again right here, home at the Hollow. Bye, guys.